I was looking at the Bucks cap table and looking at percentages and how they structured their team. Something I thought was really interesting was if you look at their front four, the money they spent on Vita Vea, Shaq Barrett, I think it's JPP, and I'm trying to remember who the fourth one is, but in total it adds up to
Ndamukong Suh.
That's what it is. Those four players make up 19.9% of the Bucks cap. Seahawks pay Russell Wilson 20.3% of their cap. So before that I don't have any questions related to that, but I just saw that and that jumped off the page to me.
No, that's very interesting. So what do you? No, what do you think when you hear that? Is that 19%? Is that more or less than the Niners spend on their D-line?
I would have to check, but I believe it's just under what the Niners spend on their front four, at least.
I would imagine it's a little bit less.
Yeah, I think it's around.
The other thing I think Tampa's roster construction is very interesting, and the Niners should study it because the quarterback right there, but two, the defense is very interesting. I think they spend a little bit less on their front four, and the way they construct their secondary is instructive for the 49ers because it's all young guys. It's all draft
picks. Really is. I was just bringing up the Excel sheet that I was doing all this on last night. They spent 4% of their cap on DBs last year. I mean, that's
they signed Shaq Barrett, they signed Sue, they signed JPP, they drafted Vita Vea. I keep calling Vita Vea, and then drafted the entire secondary, I believe. So that could be something the Niners, you don't necessarily need to spend a lot of money on your secondary, but you do need to spend premium draft capital on it. First, second, and third round picks.
Yeah, and I think that's the point that stuck out to me is that the Niners should really be spending their cap or their draft capital on DBs and in offensive linemen. I mean, that's a whole other separate thing, but really DBs. I mean, it's criminal that they haven't taken a cornerback in the first round in this entire regime to me.
Yeah, that's another thing the Niners need to take away from the Bucs roster is what that offensive line looks like and how the Niners can learn from it. It seems like the Bucs are spending their draft capital, as you pointed out, on the O-line, not the D-line.
Yeah.
And in the secondary, not at wide receiver. You don't have to, you know what I'm saying? So
yeah. No, I mean, like you're just saying, I mean, literally they spend 15% of their cap on their wide receivers, running backs, and tight ends. So it's not like they're spending a ton. I mean, that's less than their front four. So you can get away with those bargains at the skill position, whether it's running back or tight end or wide receiver.
I love this topic of what the Niners can learn from the Bucs roster construction. I'm going to come back to it. I like that you put this on the radar. This is really good.